The Messy Hippie, 2/14/25. Welcome to a safe place. The Messy Hippie. Hi, I'm Ashley Ilvasacker, the Messy Hippie. Nice to meet you. I would like to start this off with my sincerest gratitude to you for being here. Whatever it is that brought you here, thank you for coming into my tiny space of the internet where you can be your most authentic self. You are doing an incredible job. Even if you feel you are just surviving right now, simply making it through every day as a human being on planet Earth is exhausting and should be something that is celebrated. You did it. You made it, and you matter here. Affirmations are so important to me. I started them with my now 8.5-year-old daughter. She'll be 9 in August, y'all. How? Before she was 2. Pretty much from the moment that kid said her first word, I made sure the rest of the first few words she knew were ones that provided her with confidence, value, and self-love. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am kind. I am brave. I am strong. I am silly. Those are the affirmations I started teaching my toddler from the moment she could speak. That was also the order in which I would recite them. Which, looking back now on, I do have one regret with this, that I started the affirmations with her physical value. She was a toddler, so I give myself grace. Besides, she was, in my completely unbiased opinion, the most beautiful child I had ever laid my eyes on. So my mind was always in awe of her beauty. I know I shouldn't let any single regret take away from what I provided to my toddler during the beginning of her most formative years, but it's so easy to let doubt slip into places it has no right to be. So get out of here, negativity. I did a good thing. I'm a great mom. I actually have a little video of her trying to watch a Halloween episode of Blippi. It was her favorite one. The moment the song came on with the Dracula character, she would be entranced. There was no breaking that concentration. Alas, her mom tried, and I'd give myself a solid B for the effort put in versus the quality. So there this 2-year-old is, with her giant head filled with the most summer sun-kissed golden blonde hair, entranced fully in the song. Fingers move into the beat, a little tick, tick, tick can be heard from her adorable chubby-cheeked face, when suddenly her mom decides to whip out the camera to record some of her affirmations, while sitting on the floor, cross-legged with her infant sister in her lap. There was much focus on mommy, say it with me, I am smart. No, smart. I am smart. Focus. I am kind. I am brave. Why I decided that was the perfect moment to capture the magic that are affirmations is beyond me. Even all these years later, let's just call it sleep-deprived mom brain, shall we? That video is one of my most cherished. Side tangent incoming. You know, today is actually Valentine's Day, and my 8.5-year-old, we will call her Hippie Princess, has her first boyfriend. That kid planned out, then picked the perfect gifts for her, while his mom allowed him total control over his gift choices and drove him to her dad's house to let him give her the Valentine stuff and ask if she would be his Valentine. Baby daddy, don't worry, he's my bestie now. This is just for privacy reasons to not reveal anyone's identity. Sent me the video. My heart was exploding with pure joy and pride as she nervously, graciously, and somehow confidently accepted his gifts, as well as say yes to being his Valentine. When I was able to FaceTime with her, she was so giddy and proud to show off her sweet surprises. More exploding of my heart inside, we highly approve of the first boy to enter Hippie Princess's heart. His mom is doing the most incredible job raising the kindest young man. All the kudos to you, mama. I did personally reach out to her already. Back to the topic at hand. I was able to look back on the video I referenced earlier about affirmations with Hippie Princess and could look at it from fresh eyes with a fresh perspective. I gave her space to keep watching and singing her video while trying to also squeeze in a few affirmations. The balance was good in my opinion. I'd probably even bump my own grade up to a solid A for effort, while still allowing her to concentrate on what she was wanting to focus on. Then you hear baby tiny hippie sneeze. My precious. That one is for you, Shermbot. I started on affirmations with Tiny Hippie before she was even able to comprehend what I was saying. I needed to make sure I instilled confidence in her from the moment she was born. Her entrance into this crazy world was one that left me with major PTSD, her needing to be revived, and a 9-day stay in the NICU. That story will be for another time. Buckle up, it's a doozy. Hers were much of the same. You are beautiful, you are smart, you are goofy, you are kind, you are important, you are loved. Always ending Tiny Hippies with "you are loved" felt very important to me for some reason. I can look back and wonder if it was me projecting a bit because I never felt true unconditional love. from anyone until I had my children. The second they were born, I understood unconditional love. I had it for my children and they had it for me. But I also think I needed to include that in hers because it took me longer to fully fall in love with Tiny Hippie than with Hippie Princess. I know it was because of her birth and everything that was surrounding that. I wasn't able to fully connect with her until one specific moment I actually have a photo of. It was one night when she was being extra fussy and I was sitting in her glider rocking her, trying to calm her little body to help her sleep. I was personally so sleep deprived, I was just going through the motions until one single moment. I don't know what prompted it, I don't know what happened, but something clicked and I suddenly fell so deeply in love with this tiny human I was holding. I had to grab my phone to capture the moment for memories. I actually printed it and it has existed on my refrigerator in 3 homes now. That deep, unconditional love I developed that day has not waned even once. In fact, it has grown stronger over the years. That kid is my best friend. Yes, a 6-year-old is my bestie. We just get each other on a level no one else does. I understand her brain and how it works. I understand her emotions, her quite obvious struggles with ADHD, and her intense need for the racing thoughts to stop so she can sleep. I get all of that because I experience them as well. Now, I'd like to caveat this by saying I have just as special and unique of a bond with Hippie Princess. It's equally as important, and although I personally struggle more with understanding her brain, it just makes me fight harder to really relate, empathize, and understand where she's coming from on things. But that does not negate my unconditional love and admiration for her. She is my heart. I love them equally, but I have different relationships with each, and that is valid, beautiful, and acceptable. Now, I'm speaking to you, the reader. If this portion resonated with you, tell yourself the same things. Each relationship with each child of yours is unique, special, important, valuable, and different from the rest, but it does not mean you love or prefer or even favor one child over the other. I've been told I favor Tiny Hippie, but it's simply not true. From an outsider's perspective, I can sort of see why someone would say that, but I don't. She needs me more than Hippie Princess does, and that is just a fact. She needs someone that gets her on a level I do. Hippie Princess has so many other people, including her 2 other parents, her dads. I hope this makes Shermbot and Baby Daddy giggle if they are reading this or listening, that get her brain in a way I cannot. I also understand Tiny Hippie's brain in a way they cannot. It's a delicate balance, and I try not to let outside assumptions cloud my own thoughts. However, I do listen, take in the information, and analyze if I need to change anything to ensure Hippie Princess isn't perceiving things that way, including speaking to her personally about it. But I actively work at not letting it infiltrate my thoughts and how I parent. Speaking of Valentine's Day, on the topic of affirmations, I remember finding a post about cutting out hearts on paper and writing down one thing you loved about your child every day on a separate heart from February 1st through the 14th. I did that when Hippie Princess was an infant. I remember sticking the hearts to her bedroom door, and each morning I would pull off one and read it to her. She had no clue what I was saying or why I was doing that, but I did it anyway. And I'm so grateful I have those memories. I did try to keep it up after I had Tiny Hippie by doing both doors, but I often would forget, then it fizzled out. But it was truly a great idea I'm so happy I found in that time of my life. Thank you to whoever it was that helped it end up on my screen during that phase in my life. You helped me in ways you'll never know. Looking back though, it was obviously not for her since she didn't understand. It was more for me. But it is what I needed in that moment to survive. To survive the endless days as stay-at-home mom to a man in the military with a baby who seemed to just wish she'd never been born. Everything was a struggle in those days. So having that moment of reading to my baby the things I loved about her helped switch my perspective into, this is hard, really hard, but I'm determined to make sure we not only survive, but eventually thrive. And it started with affirmations. Now here we are. I'm 39. My incredible daughters are 8.5 and almost 7 years old. We've been through 5 moves so far in their short lives, with one more coming up soon. Hopefully the last until they are on their own. The first move was actually out of state from North Carolina to Wisconsin. That is approximately 18 hours, 1,100 miles, 6 states, and a whole time zone away. They were almost 3 and 1 year old. We were adjusting to the bitter cold of the Midwest from the need to change your clothes 3 times a day humidity that is North Carolina, at least where we lived, to falling in love with our new home state, potty training, learning to walk and talk for tiny hippie, both kids experiencing 4K, which is something I never got to experience myself, and being able to thrive in small town Midwest schools with only one classroom per grade, total of about 70 students in the whole school. They've made lifelong friends they've known since they were 4 years old and are thriving. But they've also been through struggles, such as being so far from anyone we knew and loved, their dad having to be gone a lot for work, a severely depressed and on the verge of suicidal at times, stay-at-home mom who was struggling with her own identity, alcohol use, her weight, and her crumbling marriage. They walked through the hardest time in their young lives, which was their parents getting a divorce. More on that at a later date. Don't worry, I'll be spilling all the tea over time, but also not giving away too much information to reveal privacy, and certain stories will be behind paywalls, as well as certain stories just will not be told on a public platform. It's just not my place to tell certain stories, but the stories that I feel affected me, traumatized me, and led me to where I am, the ones that I feel comfortable sharing, they will be shared. And they will be shared, again, behind a paywall, not revealing anyone's name or anything that could possibly lead to identifying the person. It's just the facts of the situation, and I'm going to do my best to protect everyone's privacy during that. They walked through the hardest time of their young lives, which was their parents getting a divorce, splitting time between homes, having their dad take on the primary caregiver role, and again, mom, who was struggling with not only her own mental health, divorce, new job, being on her own for the first time, finances, a job that didn't pay enough, and the real kicker that led me down the darkest path of my life, the most toxic relationship I've ever been in. I am out now. They are out now. We are safe. We are happy. We are healthy. We are thriving. I am sober. I'm at a weight I feel the most comfortable in. I have a job I love most days because I'm in control of it. I have a beautiful home we are renting that is filled with all the tchotchkes and love you could ever imagine. I have the most incredible partner who's perfect for me in every way, and someone who actively works hard on the daily for our family, our marriage, and our future. I am starting on what I believe is my true purpose and passion in life, which is writing. I am actively working towards making this my career to support my family while also ensuring I am leaving this world a better place than it is now. And if I can make just one person, one woman, one mother's life better in any way possible, my life goal will be complete. I am thriving in my life now because of my children, but also because I poured into them from a very young age, which has led to them pouring into me in a way I never knew I needed and is pushing me to chase my dreams. So to put a pretty bow on the end of my first ever blog post, I'll end it with my intentions for this space. 1. I intend for this blog, this space, my writing, to uplift, inspire, motivate, and affirm other women, especially mothers, into fulfilling all of their dreams, goals, and passions. They are worth it. Invest in the women in your life. 2. I intend for my writing to reach an audience of women who may be in a similar situation I was just in 2 years ago. Lost, lonely, confused, hurting, and questioning every decision in my life. 3. I intend to show them and even help them find a path that will leave them feeling nothing but joy, gratitude, value, and fulfillment in whatever form that may be for them. If that means leaving an unhappy and unhealthy marriage or taking time to pursue their passion projects, their dreams, or even just simply surviving the current season they are in, only to see the light at the end of the tunnel, to keep pushing forward for not only themselves but their children, I hope my post has resonated in a way that you feel seen, validated, heard, understood, and excited for the future. If you were left feeling inspired in any way, I want to personally say thank you for reading, and I hope you continue to enjoy my content. Also, never be afraid to reach out to me personally on my social media for any advice, affirmation, or encouragement. My mind, heart, ears, and inbox are always open to you. If you are needing immediate help with your own thoughts or physical safety, please reach out to a hotline via call, text, or chat using 988. Help is available 24/7 with languages in English and Spanish available. Remember to take care of you, fill your own cup so you can fill everyone else's, especially your children's. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You are loved and valuable. The Messy Hippie. Okay, at the end of this, I would like to also caveat that I did leave up the 988 number. I have not put it on any of my other blogs, and I will not be using it as a resource going forward because Although I'm not quite ready to tell this story yet, the night that I had my medical crisis, it was not only a physical crisis, it was also a mental health crisis where I needed to personally reach out to a hotline. That one popped into my head and I reached out to it via text. And I was very, 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 very disappointed in what I received. I expressed how I was feeling, where my mental state was, and what I needed from them. And what I got back was a link to read about their privacy or something along those lines. There was nowhere to click to say, okay, accept, or anything to move forward, especially when you're in that mental state. That is the last thing that you need to be doing, is trying to find information on a website. I specifically reached out to that so that someone, a person on the other end, would be like, I hear you, I see you, I'm here, let's get you help. I did not receive that. It was very much automated. And I will write out and show photos of what I received in it. I don't feel like this is the time to speak on it, but I will say I no longer recommend this as a resource. I try to use, if it works for you, then that's incredible. But in general, I personally did not get the help that I needed from that resource. And so I will no longer be recommending it, but I am leaving it on here in case it does help someone else. That's all for now. I will be recording one for every blog that I do so that this space is for those that don't have the time to read the blog. They may struggle with reading like I struggle with reading. I get stuck on a sentence or a paragraph or something and I just cannot get past it. Someone who may have dyslexia, anything that makes reading a struggle, general time, someone who just prefers to listen like audiobooks, or even those who are visually impaired. I want to provide all of the resources to be inclusive so anyone can have access to my words, my blog, especially if it's something that's going to help uplift them. I am recording this in my own voice because I thought that it would be fun and interesting to have the writer's view were it coming out of my own mouth. I will be having my husband record also. He has a much slower pace and a much more soothing voice, very much one that is suited for audiobooks and podcasts. Very much enjoy it. It is very soothing. And for anyone who wants to hear it from not only that type of voice, but also a reader, since he didn't write it himself, he could sort of read it as a reader's perspective, whereas I'm reading it as I'm the writer and these are my words and these are my thoughts and feelings. I think that's all I have for that. And then we will also most likely be doing readings or just us discussing the blog kind of in like podcast form that we will be putting on my website that will be behind paywalls, sort of like a Patreon type of thing. So I hope that you have a great day. I hope this was helpful to anyone who needed it or wanted it. I'm going to keep working on making sure that I'm enunciating better and everything. So this was my first one. Bear with me. I'm sorry if it sucked. Again, my husband's much better at this. So if this one was no good for you, you can listen to his. So thank you so much. The Messy Hippie signing out.